What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Classic Chronicles. I hope everybody enjoyed their weekend and is ready to conquer the week that is. And as you're listening to this, man, Christmas is a week away, man. I can't believe it. It is finally here. Time flew so quickly this year. Um, and yeah, so if you haven't gotten all your holiday shopping done, I suggest you get a move on it and definitely use that Amazon Prime membership to your advantage, man. And no, I'm not getting paid to say it. I'm just telling you from real life experience, man. It is your best friend. Uh, so yeah, definitely do that. And just have fun this holiday season, man. The holiday season is not all about giving and receiving presents. It is just a time of the year to spend it with those that you love the most and that those that you hold near and dear to your heart. And I hope whatever you do and whatever you celebrate, you celebrate it safely and you have a hell of a time doing it. Anyway, but for today's episode of the Classic Chronicles, I'm gonna break down Ring of Honor Final Battle. So Ring of Honor Final Battle went down this past Saturday night in Garland, Texas. Garland, Texas. Oh my God. So that's near the Dallas. That is the Dallas Fort Worth metro area, I believe. And yeah, so there was a lot of action in on the show, man. A lot of matches. So let's just break it all down. So on the 0 hour, which is the pre-show, you had Taya Valkyrie taking on Jasmine Allure, and Taya Valkyrie ended up picking up the win there. It is really cool to see Taya Valkyrie happy and doing her thing in wrestling again. You know, her previous WWE run left a lot to be desired. And she went back to Impact before signing with AEW / Ring of Honor, and it's cool to see her out there, man. I like Tara Valkyrie. I'm a huge fan. Jasmine Allure, her opponent, great upstart, great upside to her. She's very young. I think she's only like 24 years old. So great to see her getting some exposure. She has wrestled on AEW Dark before, and I believe maybe a few enhancement matches on Dynamite. I'm not sure, but she has definitely been under the AEW umbrella before and the Ring of Honor umbrella before. She was a she was a not a staple in the former women's division over there, but pretty prominent part in there. So nice to see her back in Ring of Honor again. Uh, so yeah, no, that was that. And then in the second match of the 0 hour final battle, you had the Von Erichs, Ross and Marshall taking on the Outrunners, great independent tag team, and of course the Von Erichs, huge name, not only in Texas but all around the world, man. And this is not going to be the last time you hear the Von Erichs name this week, as a matter of fact. Stay tuned for more Von Erich content if you are a fan of the Von Erich family. These so the for those of you who may or may not know, the Von Erichs are a very rich. A very rich wrestling oriented family. They have a very rich history in the business, especially in the Dallas Fort Worth area. That is where they made their name in world class championship wrestling and the territory days back in the 80s. Uh, of course, a lot of the you know what? I'm just gonna I'll leave that for the other thing that I want to talk about related to Von Erichs. But yeah, man, it's really cool to see Kevin Von Erich and his sons, Ross and Marshall, the legend that Kerry Von Erich, not Kerry, Kevin Von Erich is, and for him to be passing on advice to his sons Ross and Marshall, and them taking a shot at their shot at the wrestling business is great to see. Great young kids, great upside, and they're learning from one of the best. Uh, So yeah, that is what do you call it? Next up, uh, next up in the 0 hour was a survival of the fittest qualifier matchup. So Samoa Joe, who had been the Ring of Honor World Television Champion, undefeated as the Ring of Honor TV Champion, and he relinquished that title about a month ago, and said that he wanted to go up against MJF, who is the AEW World Champion, and he'll get that opportunity at AEW World's End on Saturday, December 30th. Those two will clash for the AEW World Championship, and so Samoa Joe said that he's hungrier and he wanted to go on to bigger and better things, so he relinquished the Ring of Honor World Television Championship, and there was a tournament held to determine the new Ring of Honor World Champion, World Television Champion, which Tony Khan said that it will be held at Final Battle. So the finals will be held at Final Battle, and here we go. And there was another spot opened up with Commander Delton Castle, uh, Kyle Fletcher, Big Shorty Lee Johnson, and hold on a second, let me just make sure. And Lee Moriarty holding down the first five spots by virtue of the matches that they've won on Ring of Honor television. And the final spot ready to go to two independent talent, the bounty hunter Brian Keith and Jack Cartwheel. Both entertaining wrestlers, both great athletes and great young kids, and got a great upside to them, both of them. And it's cool to see them getting the national television exposure that they deserve. Brian Keith defeated Jack Cartwheel to hold down that sixth and final spot in the Ring of Honor Survival of the Fittest match for the vacant Ring of Honor World Television Championship. And on your final match on the pre-show, you had Daniel Garcia taking on shit. Daniel Garcia taking on Blake Christian. This is a hell of a match, man. I love Danny Garcia. Great wrestler. I can watch him wrestle 7 days out of the week. And Blake Christian, definitely a great wrestler in his own right. Current Game Changer Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, among other things. He's definitely a contrast to styles between these two. You know, Blake Christian is more of a high flyer. High flyer slash brawler type wrestler, and Daniel Garcia is just a straight wrestling technician. So definitely a contrasting styles between these two, and it was a hell of a match with Danny Garcia picking up the win on Final Battle, the final match of the Final Battle pre-show. So on to the main show, on to the main event. This is all Final Battle. So to kick off Final Battle, you had El Hijo de Vikingo defending the AAA Mega Championship against Black Toros. Again, another huge matchup of contrasting styles. You know, Black Toros is a brawler and powerhouse, and El Hijo de Vikingo is just gonna beat you with straight high flying moves that's out of a video game, man. If you watch El Hijo de Vikingo wrestle, man, you would think that he's one of these created characters on WWE 2K23, because he does stuff that only your created characters in a video game should do, man. Hell of an entertaining wrestler. In the end, El Hijo de Vikingo ended up picking up the win with a 720 splash, man. So that hell of a matchup to kick off the night, man. It was a very hot opener. Next up, you had the Mogul Embassy, consisting of Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony, Tangaloa and Khan, taking on the Mighty Doneel, Shane Hayes, Bad Dude Tito, and Forgive me, but I do not know. I cannot remember the Japanese gentleman that was their tag team partner, man. And New Japan fans are gonna kill me for this, and rightfully so. I should know this, but yeah. Uh, anyway, great match between these six competitors, and in the end, the Mogul Embassy ended up picking up the win, man, to retain their Ring of Honor World Six Man Championships. Uh, next up was Ethan Page taking on Tony Nese in an I Quit match, and this one was a war brewing. Ethan Page, former Impact Tag Team Champion, and he just has done so much in the wrestling business at such a young age. But he's trying to find his footing as a singles competitor, and it's tough. He did the faction thing with Top Team and Dan Lambert in them, Paige Van Zandt, a couple of MMA guys, but that, kind of flailed after that, and it's cool to see him kind of regain his footing in Ring of Honor. And Tony Nese, of course, hugely underrated athlete. He did not get utilized in WWE at all, so he left, and I feel like Ring of Honor / AEW is a perfect fit for him. He's just thriving over there, and it's cool to see him do his thing. And these two went at it, man. So after a month of guys costing each other title shots and verbal spatting, and it was just time to end it. And this is the perfect place to end it and the perfect way to end it in an I Quit match. There is nothing that will humble another man more than another man making him say I quit. And Ethan Page, despite everything, despite the handcuffs, the chair shots, the weights, yes, there was a weight used in this match. I'm not gonna go in too much into that. You're just gonna have to watch the replay to see what I'm talking about. But after all of that, Ethan Page was able to pick up the win and defeat Tony Nese, but not without a fight. Uh, next up, you kind of had a filler match. You had Nyla Rose taking on Vert Vixen. Vert Vixen is a great independent wrestler who's done some work for AEW and wrestles sporadically in enhancement matches in on Ring of Honor. So it's cool to see her. And I believe she's a Dallas, Texas native. So cool for her to get a slot on pay per view, even if it is just a squash match. Uh, so yeah, no, Nyla Rose defeated Vert Vixen pretty handily. Uh, you know, um, Nyla, great competitor. Former AEW Women's World Champion, and it's cool to see her. Get some exposure on Ring of Honor because in when you're wrestling on AEW, you got all your top stars over there, but yeah, but Ring of Honor I feel is like a breeding ground for some of the lesser known AEW talent to kind of flourish and kind of do their thing, or just to get your career back on track. It's a great net to have. Um, so yeah, next up was the aforementioned survival of the fittest match for the vacated Ring of Honor World Television Championship. Excuse me. Dalton Castle, of course, former television champion in his own right. Lee Moriarty, Big Shotty Lee Johnson, Commander and Commander Brian Keith, who won his win in the match by picking up one earlier in the night, like I mentioned at the beginning, and 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 uh, and Kyle Fletcher of Aussie Open. So, and speaking of the latter picked up the win to to uh, to capture the vacated Ring of Honor World Television Championship. It's cool to see Kyle Fletcher get so much exposure, especially it could be hard because Kyle Fletcher is primarily a tag team competitor, and sometimes when your partner's off TV, you don't really because his partner Mark Davis, who he comprises Aussie Open with, He's off TV dealing with an injury right now. So it's cool to see Kyle Fletcher still get the exposure that he deserves, and have him branch out as a singles competitor. And then his partner, when Mark Davis comes back, have him go after the AEW Tag Team Championships, and continue that tag team title run. But cool to see Kyle Fletcher get some shine as the ROH TV champion and a member of the Don Callis family. Uh, next up, there was a matchup for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. You had the champion Wheeler Yuta defending against Filthy Tom Lawler. Filthy Tom Lawler is a great wrestler in his own right. Came from an MMA background, but can wrestle you. And Wheeler Yuta, the champion. You can complain and bitch about the tactics he uses to win his matches, but in my opinion, he's criminally underrated as a performer. Definitely, you see him in the Blackpool Combat Club, and with Claudio Castagnoli, John Moxley, and Brian Danielson, and you think what is he doing there? But no, he definitely is a great wrestler, and he shows that every time. It shows that every time that he goes into the ring, whether it be singles competition or with teaming with the members of the Blackpool Combat Club. But as for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship, I believe that fits him very well. Uh, like I said, he's criminally underrated as a wrestler. So and he did not disappoint in this match either, man. So to quickly go over the rules of a pure wrestling match, you get a 20 count outside of the ring. You get one close. The first closed fist that you use to the face is a warning. The second one is an automatic disqualification. There's three judges that 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 sit on ringside and judge you on points. And the most important one of the most important thing is the three rope break rule. If after a wrestler exhausts that third rope break, uh, no matter what happens, if that wrestler gets put in a submission again, even if they make it to the ropes on the fourth attempt, the hold is not broken. So normally, when you make it to the ropes in a submission match, the hold is automatically broken, and the person that is putting the hold on their opponent gets a 5 count to break it. If you don't, you get disqualified. But not in a pure wrestling match after that third rope break. So yeah, you gotta uh, really be have a strategy going into these types of matches, because you want to use your rope breaks wisely. You want to make sure that you're not doing anything illegal, but hey, there's always ways around it. But yeah, anyway, Wheeler Yuta picked up the win over Filthy Tom Lawler, and after the match, he Wheeler Yuta and Hook had a little bit of an exchange, and Wheeler Yuta left Hook laying. So this is going to definitely start a few between those two. Cool to see where that goes. Next up was a matchup at least a decade in the making, in the form of Keith Lee taking on Shane Taylor. So Shane Taylor and Keith Lee used to be tag team partners, and all that good stuff. Keith Lee went on to sign with the WWE, and that kind of left a sour taste in Shane Taylor's mouth. And Shane Taylor's been looking for revenge ever since, man. And these two did not disappoint. Two big bulls just going at it, two big guys. Just as another fellow wrestler, Biggie, would say, big meaty men slapping meat. Anyway, no, yeah, but no, it was, these two should not be able to do the stuff that they do at their size, man. It was just unbelievable. And in the end, Keith Lee ended up picking up the win over Shane Taylor with the Big Bang Catastrophe. Trust me, the nice Dragon Ball Z reference there, but also the move is as cool as the thing that it's named after. Yeah, so definitely, and in the course of picking up the win, Keith Lee earned Shane Taylor's respect at the end of the day, which is cool to see. Um, and speaking of wars, man, this next one was a war for sure. It was Keith. I mean, it was the Blackpool Combat Club taking on taking on FTR and Mark Briscoe in a fight to honor Mark's brother Jay. Now, for those of you who don't know, the wrestling world tragically lost Jay Briscoe earlier this year due to a car accident, and you know, huge props to Mark for carrying his brother, carrying the legacy of of the Briscoes, and the Briscoes are an absolute Ring of Honor staple. Day ones and there, and Mark will probably be there for the rest of his life. As a matter of fact, it would be very, very weird for me as somebody who's followed the Briscoes' careers to see Mark in anywhere else but Ring of Honor. But yeah, so the and of course the Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio Castagnoli, John Moxley, and Brian Danielson. This was a war, man. Thumbtacks, chairs, barbed wire ladders, forks, just everything. It would have been, if you know the style of Jay Briscoe, you know that this is the kind of match that he would have wanted, man. Just everybody just kicking the crap out of each other, having a damn good time doing it. Yes, this was a war. If you don't watch any other matchup on the show, I suggest you go and take a look at this match because it was a damn classic, and a car wreck. Two of my favorite things. All right, so so the Briscoes and FTR ended up picking up the win after a hell of a 6-man tag. And so yeah, no, moving on. Eddie Kingston, Ring of Honor World Champion and New Japan Never Openweight Champion Eddie Kingston defeated Anthony Henry in a proving ground match. So a proving ground match is just basically if you last 10 minutes with the champion, or if you pin the champion in that 10-minute time limit, then you automatically get a shot at them. But it did not pan out well for Mr. Anthony Henry. Although a hell of a wrestler, just Eddie Kingston was just too much on this night, and Eddie Kingston defeated Anthony Henry with his Dragon Sleeper. And next up, you had and next up was your main event actually. It was Billy Starks challenging for the Ring of Honor, the women's Ring of Honor Women's World Championship. Okay, there we go. Jesus Christ. Against Athena. Athena has been the champion well over a year now. She won the championship at Final Battle last year, defeating Mercedes Martinez, and pretty much has been untouchable since then in Ring of Honor. So yeah, no, this story this story has been building for a long time. You got Ricky Starks, Billy Starks. Oh my God, Ricky Starks, Billy Starks, the young upstart, taking on Athena. The veteran, and Athena kind of took Billy under her wing, and taught her a lot of things. But Billy Starks, became a minion in training, so to speak, and did Athena's dirty work for a while. But you want, like, if you know Billy Starks, that's not how she rolls. She's a very squeaky clean baby face. Has an aggressive side, but a very very good girl. Doesn't like to break any rules in the ring. Just likes to go out there and give the fans a good show. And Athena's the heel, and doesn't care about what the fans think, and it's all about her, which is great. I believe that she is finally becoming the wrestler that she wants to be, and that she wants people to see. So it's pretty cool. And these women did not disappoint. They had the main event for a reason, because of the story and how it unfolded, man. And in the end, despite Billy Stark's best efforts, Athena went on to regain the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship. Yeah, so all in all, good show. My only gripe is, that it is way too long. These AEW and Ring of Honor pay-per-views, it's way too long, man. Like almost 5 hours. But it's that's one good thing that I'm willing to put up with, for as long as the action and the in ring product is good. I'm willing to put up with the length of time, man. But yeah, no, a great show. So Ring of Honor streamed on their streaming service, Honor Club. If you have the Honor Club service, definitely go back and check out Final Battle if you missed it, and if you didn't, just watch this review if you want a quick breakdown of everything that happened. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this episode of the Classic Chronicles. Like, subscribe, share. Don't forget to hit that notification button so you don't miss a video. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.